Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, Yankees take care of business in Game 1, come away with a, I would say, pretty easily, routinely type of 5-2 win there against the Cleveland Guardians. A game that you felt good really with the Yankees the whole way, even in the first inning there when they started hitting Cobb early on. I know they didn't score there in the first frame, but this was a game that, you just felt it was the Yankees the entire way there, even with Cleveland threatening a little bit there in the 8th inning, and Boone having to go to Weaver, probably one out more than he wanted to, but nevertheless, he's able to close it out for the Yankees, and they take this first game of the best of 7 series there. So we'll kind of look back at this game and some of the key points there, as well as kind of get back into the whole roster. As you probably know, Rizzo and Stroman were added, unlike they were for the divisional series. But really, I think the question for this one was going to be, how was Carlos Rodón going to respond from his disappointing start last time against the Royals there? So we'll get into the whole thing. Also preview Game 2. But before we get said, make sure you're a podcast subscriber so you can kind of get these quick feedbacks after each game there, kind of go over the key points and all that other stuff. Plus, we got the rest of this series. Hopefully, we're moving on to the World Series. I don't want to, count my eggs before they hatch and all that stuff. But nevertheless, I mentioned, I think the Yankees have a good chance, very good chance of moving on past Cleveland there. And of course, we have the whole winter ahead of us. Hopefully we're raising up a trophy. But if not, either way, it's gonna be a long off season of Soto talk and trades and all this other stuff. So make sure you're a podcast subscriber. So Game 1 here, I mentioned before that again, I just like the Yankees' chances in the series, and you just really saw it almost play out in this game. Just the way the Yankees pitchers, you look at that Cleveland lineup, and they got some really good hitters in there. But just over the past couple of seasons, and just even during the regular season, it just seems like the Yankee pitchers, they've got a good plan against them. They pretty much limit the damage, and that was pretty much the case in this game. And you just like the Yankees' chances. Even though Rodón obviously ran out of gas in his last start against the Royals there, and simply that was because he just pumping himself too much. And you saw how it was. I mean, he was like pumping the fist, screaming, all that stuff, and it seemed like maybe all that he expended his energy a little bit too early. Boy, by the 4th inning, he just lost control of his fastball, and eventually the Yankees had to pull him out of the game. This version of Rodón you saw much more reserved and just as effective, giving the Yankees 6 great innings, just surrendering 1 run off a home run from Brian Rucchio there. But other than that, he was absolutely brilliant. 9 strikeouts, no walks, and even the last at bat there against Jose Ramirez, got a little help from Aaron Judge. Ramirez put a good at bat on him and sent the ball to left center there, which you figure might dunk in there for a double. But of course, Judge, the big man, still able to run it down to get Carlos Rodón the 6th inning there cleanly, and Boone not having to go to the bullpen any earlier than that. And as on the other side for the Yankees, you just like that matchup against Alex Cobb. You remember the guy back from the Tampa days, which seems like forever. He's just 37 years old, and apparently he's been dealing with some issues, I guess, with a blister as well as a missing nail in his index finger. Now, they said that's not really was the issue, but you get to see early on, he wasn't going to last long, and I don't even know what the plan was for him. I don't know if he was going to be able to get 5 innings out of him. You just saw rather to shoot the Yankees, tattoo 2 balls hard off from both Torres and Soto. They're back-to-back to start the game now. This would be a situation in the first inning where the Yankees squandered with 2 men on and nobody out, and you figure, is this going to be a replay of the Royal Series, the same thing? Even with that, you just didn't feel that it was going to be the same way, just the body language. You figure, even if they cash in on the first inning there, you knew that it was going to get the Cobb. Just the way it was. You just you had a better feeling just with their body language, everything else. So yeah, even though they didn't get to him in the first inning with a golden opportunity with Judge up, I still felt that they'll get to him eventually, because I just didn't think he was going to last long, and he didn't. The Yankees would eventually punch through in the 3rd inning with a solo home run from Juan Soto, who sent the ball deep into the night, even with the crazy winds there, able to get over the wall and started off right there. And then after that, Judge drew a walk, and it was just kind of a walk-a-thon to the point where they just had to pull Cobb out of the game, and again, he looked like he had some discomfort. And then they bring in this guy, Joey Cantillo, lefty, who Yankees, during the regular season smacked him around a little bit, comes up there, and he can't even fight in the strike zone. In fact, I'll give him his credit. He could find home plate, but he has to bounce the ball up there. So this guy threw the ball all over the place, anywhere except over home plate. Ended up spiking 2 balls that went behind the catcher, and the Yankees were able to steal 2 runs just by sloppy Cantillo there, just throwing the ball all over the place. And bad job by Nail, and even Ron Darling pointed out, especially when you have a run on third where you got to be really protective there. This guy was kind of spearing the ball with his gloves versus putting his body in front and blocking the ball. Again, allowed 2 runs to score like that, and before you know it, the Yankees were up 3-0 and would add another 4th run thanks to an Aaron Judge sacrifice fly. And from there, Cleveland came out and stopped the bleeding eventually with their bullpen, but you never really felt that the Yankees were truly in danger. I knew they threatened there a little bit in the 8th inning, and it was kind of a weird thing because Boone went with Holmes in the 7th inning, which is he's kind of the setup guy now. You'd usually put him a little later. I know that Cleveland Cleveland had some lefties come up, so I know Boo wanted the Holmes for the 7th, and then have Tim Hill, the lefty, come out to face the lefty Cleveland hitters for the 8th there. It didn't exactly work out. They slapped him around a little bit, and it was an interference call at first base to put the runners over, and they would end up getting another run in there. So the mighty Yankee bullpen finally gave up a couple of runs, which was absolutely flawless, and put up zeros against the Royals. But even with that, you didn't really feel, again, the Yankees were in danger, and Boone had to go to Weaver for a 5-out save, getting the pinch hitter Brennan there, a strikeout, and then the dangerous Jose Ramirez, who at that point scores 5-2. You have 2 runners on, one swing of the bat could tie the game there, but is able to get him to roll over a ground ball that's easy out at second base, out of the jam there, and then of course in the 9th inning comes out and is absolutely blows them away, striking out the last 2 Cleveland hitters there. And he did surrender a walk, so Luke Weaver looks like he could be human, and he, maybe this could have been the day you figure, is he going to blow one a little bit? He did go 3-0 on the guy before he eventually came back to get the out there. So man, that's probably maybe the most sloppy we've seen Weaver in the playoffs. Even though it wasn't terrible. So look, he is human, but ultimately, the most importantly, he got the job done. And Boone probably didn't want to go for him for 5 outs there, but you kind of have to. Hey, you got an opportunity to win the game. You got to nail it down because you don't know what tomorrow is. Now, the only problem with tomorrow is you don't have the off day between games 1 and 2 as you did in the divisional series. So now he probably can't go to Weaver for a 5-out save. I don't know if he would do that. So again, that's sort of how that carries over there. But again, never at the point where you just felt the Yankees were in sort of danger, and kind of just picked up where they left off with the Royal Series, just taking their walks, being patient at the plate. Yeah, they didn't get the big hits to cash in, with men on there, but they did, at least get a couple of home runs. And of course, I mentioned one by Soto, and then Giancarlo Stanton, who had an opportunity in the first inning, and with 2 outs, sent the ball to the left field warning track, which maybe if it was the summer or August like that, maybe that ball goes out. But with the winds of Yankee Stadium, and this was really the first, you would say, fall classic type of game at Yankee Stadium. It was high 40s, a little bit bitter, cold. You had the winds and all that there, so you really got the real sense of fall baseball. But then Stanton later in the game, with one of his, no doubt about a Stanton type of home runs, line drive. It doesn't matter if it was August, January, March, April, May. This was going to be a home run any time of the year. Hits one of his signature bullet line drive home runs to the opposing bullpen there. A couple more feet higher, that would have been into the left field bleachers. And again, it's probably the deepest and hardest place to hit a home run in Yankee Stadium. And he rocked one there. So again, Stanton, for his problems in the regular season with the injuries and all that stuff, he does get his home runs in the postseason, so you got to give that to them, and he's getting more impressive that end than Aaron Judge is so far. It is what it is with him. So he continues his hot hitting from the Royal Series there. That was the 5th run of the game, which gave the Yankees getting the. At that point, there was 5-1 lead before the end. Cleveland scratched another run over with that 8th inning against mainly Tim Hill. But yeah, never in this game though. Again, you felt the Yankees were really in danger there. So they come out away with that one and take game 1, put that away, and now you have game 2, which would be Bibby, the Cleveland right-hander there, 25 years old, going up against Garrett Cole. Again, fresh off his strong start to close out the Royal Series there. Obviously you like the Yankees' chances in that one. Good opportunity to go up 2-0, what you want to do. And then when you go on the road there and you just hope to take maybe, you got to take at least 2 out of 3 on the road there. But again, not as much pressure if you go in there 2-0 versus 1-1, because now you go there 1-1, you kind of swinging the pendulum their way, because then the next 2 games coming up, you have Clark Schmidt for game 3, and then Luis Heel for game 4. And that's a series situation where, Clark Schmidt's start against the Royals was very good, very effective. I know he couldn't get out of the 5th inning there. Some of that wasn't his fault. But that's asking a lot for him to go on the road there. Let's say if the Yankees are tied in the series 1-1, it's a big ask of him. I know they kind of did the same thing in the Royal Series, but it's a little bit different there. And then, of course, in the backdrop of that, you have Luis Heel, who hasn't started a game since late September there. So you figure he might be rusty a little bit. I mean, he didn't pitch at all during the Royal Series. So that's, again, a big ask of him. That's why it's really important if the Yankees go to Cleveland up 2-0, just so if you have a little folly in game 3 or 4 with Schmidt or Heel, it's not as big of a deal. Now, I was going to go back even further than that with the American League Championship roster for the Yankees. Unlike the divisional series, added both Anthony Rizzo and Stroman to the roster. And Rizzo in his game, I can say, offensively, his swings, he actually looks better than, with the fractured fingers. And he's probably, some of the best swings he had in this game than he probably had during the regular season. So that's how crazy that is. Did boot one ball, so it was in that 8th inning where, again, Cleveland threatened a little bit. There was a ground out to him. He kind of misplayed the ball there. Normal Rizzo probably gloves that. He didn't. It kind of went under the gloves and sputtered that into right field there. So you might see that might be a result of some of the rust. But Rizzo, they put him right in there. Didn't waste any time. And Stroman, who's someone, you would just look to in case, let's say, if Schmidt or Heel falter, you may bring him out. Or if you get into a sort of extra inning situation where you need someone to give you 3 or 4 innings because you burnt your bullpen out, that'll be Stroman's role. Now, it turns out there were workers considering Nestor. Looks like he did have a bullpen session on Sunday, but they just don't feel he would be ready enough to be back for this championship series. So he's left off and Stroman's in. They said maybe if they get to the World Series, they might consider Nestor. I don't know at that point, but he's not going to be available for this championship series. So good start for the Yankees. A good bounce back from Rodón. Again, he kind of kept himself a little reserved a little bit, wasn't screaming and pumping his fists, and seemed like kind of gave him enough endurance to go full 6 innings. Just surrendered the 1 run on a home run, but other than that, impressive. 9 strikeouts. Again, the only difference between this and the Royals one, he had a lot of strikeouts in that Royals game. I believe he had 7, but by the 4th inning, he was already spent. This time, kept himself well reserved to give the Yankees 6 good quality innings, and then go into the bullpen. Holmes, Hill, and Weaver. And Weaver, okay, he walked a guy, and he went 3-0 in a guy there. Looked a little bit human, but still never cracked, never faltered, and able to lock down the save for the Yankees. So that's game 1. The Yankees up now 1-0 in the series, and now you just need 3 more. Catch you next time.